welcome back. We now have Pete Biggs, who has put his name in for election to the Stanley constituency. Pete, what skills do you believe you'll bring to the Assembly, and what portfolios would particularly interest you?
Well, hello, Richard, and thank you for interviewing me. I've spent a lot of my working life working in the civil service in one shape or form, and most of my life in the Falklands. And I think, given my age and experience, I think I bring a lot of experience to the Assembly. I'm also very interested in the economy and the environment, and I have no embarrassment in admitting I've been banging a few drums about salmon farming recently. I'm sure we'll discuss that later.
Yes.
And also I've been involved with the Falkland Islands government in finance and taxation, so I've got quite a good background in those areas.
What issues do you think are going to have to be focused on by the new Assembly?
Well, I think this is a bit of a special time, and I think that now is the awakening of the Falkland Islands to the climate crisis. I know there has been a bit of work, there's been good work with wind generation and things like that in the past, and alternative energies. But now I think it is the time for the Falkland Islands government and the Falkland Islands to plan its approach to serious reduction of its carbon footprint.
Right. When first elected, you'll be very aware of what people think and about all sorts of issues. But once you're elected, how would you intend to remain aware of what their people's opinions are and such like? Facebook has been tried, but unfortunately it appears to me that a lot of people are using Facebook as a soapbox rather than gleaning the sort of opinions of the general population.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. I think Facebook is a bit of a muddle. I would look at it sometimes, but I wouldn't use it as primary ways. I think I would ask people that have concerns to contact me by email or talk to me face to face or by telephone, and I will always try and keep a tab on discussions I've had, and at the relevant times I wouldn't be one of these annoying people that's forgotten all about them. I would try to keep in touch and update them on the issues.
Fine. A number of large but essential capital infrastructure projects are scheduled underway, and such as the port and the power station, Tussock House, and there must be others as well. How do you see these should be financed?
Well, to come at it from a different direction, I have grave reservations about borrowing money, but I, as you know, I'm a new candidate. I haven't been involved in government currently, and I need to update myself on the situation. And I look forward to doing that. But I would be in favour of borrowing as little as possible and being very cautious about it because of unknown aspects of world economy. We could be hit with interest rates, and if you calculate the interest on 70 million, if it's gone up to 5% or something, it does get very scary. So I think we've got to be very careful how we do that. The projects have to be done, but we've got to be careful.
They've got to be done, yeah. Well, one of the most common issues discussed in the sort of streets and everything at the moment is salmon farming. This could become a really quite valuable industry for the Falklands, but it's also coupled with stories of pollution and all sorts of problems. Where do you stand on this issue?
I stand in a very clear place on this. I've been looking into it for some time, and I think there is enough evidence out there to say that it is a risk too far for the Falkland Islands. The chances of it going wrong when you do a risk assessment on it are sufficiently high that we cannot take that risk. I know it is a £1 billion industry, and and that is the scary thing, because it will get a lot of attention for that reason. But I am completely against salmon farming. There is reports coming out, I know, and a lot of people saying they won't know until they see those reports. Well, I know now, but I will look at the reports with an open mind. But don't hold your breath for me to change my mind.
Communications and the speed of the internet and such like are an issue both in Stanley and Camp. How do you think we can actually achieve the sort of service that people expect all around the world these days?
Yeah, I know, Shaw do their best. I know they have economies of scale problems, and it must be a difficult job putting services out to so few people over such a large area. But that aside, I think the Falkland Islands government has a responsibility to look at every option out there, and I would like to see a bit of a study done by the Falkland Islands government to see what the options are, how they can be blended with existing systems. Mm-hmm. But things like Starlink and the similar systems have to be explored to some degree, so we can see where we can go after this. Yes. We cannot deny new technology.
No. Climate change is becoming an issue which just can't be ignored now. What steps should the Falklands take to make the islands more carbon neutral? And given that renewable energy has developed amazingly in the last few years, do you feel that the new power station should be made more reliant on renewable energy?
Yeah, it's time to act and plan now. I think the first things the Falkland Islands government should concentrate on is completing some of our dirty secrets now, which are the waste management and the sewer system in Stanley. We've been here around these shores for a couple of 100 years, and we still haven't sorted that out, and it's high time it was done. And then we've got to go into reducing plastic use and go the full range, really, of looking for alternative fuels. Yes. For vehicles. Encouraged to see some electric cars. And as far as the new power station goes, I think it's essential that when that is built, it has the connectivity so that alternative energy systems can be plugged into it. I think there will probably still be a need for diesel generation, depending on when it's built, of course. Yes. as a core. But I would like to see every effort made for alternative energy sources to be plugged in. And maybe then we could also have private dwelling solar panels and things feeding into the net.
Yes, yes. Falkland Conservation have produced a document at 2021 election, getting the green vote, laying out their ideas for a green-based election. Are you aware of this document, and would you wish to make the Falklands more aware of climate change and green issues?
Yes, I've seen the document. I think it's very good. I agree with it. And, I commend Falklands Conservation and all the other little organisations and individuals that do their bit towards raising awareness of global issues. But it's a turning point globally, I think. Yeah. And I think this is the big issue.
There's been quite a bit of criticism recently about the level of old age pensions and such like, which are fall well below the living wage. In view of the fact that many pensioners now were working at a time where they weren't able to contribute to pensions, and even if they were, the actual income from those pensions is derisory. How can we deal with this?
Well, there's two sorts of pensions, isn't there? There's retirement pensions and occupational pensions. The retirement pension, the standard OAP, it should be raised. It should be reviewed every year and raised a bit if at all possible. I think even then it'll probably fall below the acceptable sort of standard of living if people have to rely on that entirely for providing their livelihood. So it is a huge problem. I know the social welfare scheme will pick up people that get left behind, but I think that there has to be a bit of a government review of this and see if there's another injection of capital that's required for that one to get it into better shape. But I do think there is a time capsule of problem coming, because as people become more mobile with their employment and things like that, I believe less and less people are providing for the occupational pension, and the rates of that are pretty marginal anyway. Yes. So when you calculate how much you've got to contribute for a decent output, so there is a problem that the Falkland Islands government should and will have to address. And one way of doing it something immediately is to have a government office where people can go and get good advice about pensions, and hopefully encourage more people to make their own provision for pensions extra to the OAP.
It's been suggested in some circles that members spend too much time overseas rather than and not enough on local issues. Can you comment on that? And if elected, would you be prepared to travel on the Falklands?
Yes, I would be happy to travel for the Falklands. I hate that flight, but I would do it. For political stability, we have to be seen in the world, I think, and I think MLAs of the past have done well going to the various important engagements, showing their face, representing the Falklands, and seeing as they're full time now, they can do that with plenty of
I'm afraid we've come to the time's up.